Last year, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus was a great option for retro gamers that wanted a console that was more affordable, but could also handle more demanding consoles like PS2 and Gamecube pretty well. Retroid always kind of fit well in this middle tier of consoles. I did an in-depth review on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. I also added a couple videos demonstrating what it's capable of. For example, I made videos of hooking my Retroid Pocket 3 Plus to a TV and playing local multiplayer on it, essentially turning it into a home console. I also made videos of playing through PS2 games. Anyway, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus plays GameCube, PS2, 3DS, and Wii pretty freaking well if I'm gonna be honest.
In fact, I still recommend the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus if you aren't completely set on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro or the 4 regular yet. Right now they're going for around $125, which is significantly cheaper. This brings me to my actual point of this video. Do you really need the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro? When you compare the Dimensity 1100 chip and the T618, which comes in the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, the Dimensity 1100 is an obvious winner, being significantly newer and more powerful. The question is not whether or not the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is a better device, but rather is it worth upgrading after only a year of having the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus for $70 extra.
In this video, I'm going to give you my first impressions of the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Then I'm going to compare PS2 and GameCube emulation between the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus and the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro in order to give you an idea of what the increase in performance looks like with Retroid's newest console. This is not my full in-depth review of the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Rather, I just wanted to get a video out sooner than later for those of you that are chomping at the bit wanting to get the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Later on, I'm going to make a full in-depth review and I'm going to cover a lot more about this console.
Before we get into the performance test, let's talk about my first impressions of the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Immediately when I pull the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro out, I think this is heavier and bulkier than the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. You can see a size comparison here with the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. It made me realize how slim the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus really is. But hey, sometimes bigger actually does mean better. We're getting a more powerful device after all. Inside the box, Retroid included a screen protector and also the surprisingly good quality USB-C cable. It was even branded with Retroid. Alright, so the buttons. Retroid took those annoying side buttons off and put them on the front of the device. No more awkwardly pressing the home or volume buttons like I did plenty of times on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Whoever thought it'd be a good idea to put the buttons there where our hands are supposed to grip the device, I don't know. There are also some obvious quality improvements with the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro that give it a premium feel. The plastic shell has this really nice texture to it, and the triggers have these grips on them, and they're also analog triggers now, which feels more premium. However, personally, I'm not really a fan of analog triggers unless I'm playing like an immersive game that also has haptic feedback like on the PS5. None of the games I'm playing on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro has that. You also have this nice engraved Retroid logo on the back as well as the grill for the fan. And finally, the joysticks. These joysticks are awesome. They feel super smooth and they're also Hall sticks.
I'm a little nervous about the triggers. As you've probably already seen on the internet, some people are having issues where the triggers are breaking on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pros. Retroid even came out and said that they would replace triggers for free for the next 2 years. Now, I'm really hoping this doesn't happen to me because I don't want to deal with replacing the trigger, but we'll see. Either way, I gotta say, Retroid, you made a pretty little console here.
For the setup, I followed Retro Game Core's guide, per usual, and I set up Daijisho on the front end. This front end is amazing, by the way. It really turns your console into feeling more like a retro gaming device as opposed to a phone with buttons. In general, you want to take the time to set up your Retroid Pocket 4 Pro properly. It's easy to get away with just slapping on some emulators quickly in order to start playing. But taking the time to optimize everything, organize everything, and customize your front end to your liking will go a long way. When I film my in-depth review, I'll go more in-depth on the setup process, but for now, if you purchase Retro Pocket 4 Pro, I would follow Retro Game Core's guide.
Alright, now we're going to compare game performance between the Retro Pocket 3 Plus and the Retro Pocket 4 Pro. We're going to see what an extra $70 really gets you in terms of performance. Now, I'm going to be testing out GameCube and PS2. Why these consoles in particular? Well, this is kind of where Retro Pocket 3 Plus started to struggle a bit. Plus, honestly, they're pretty difficult consoles to emulate in the first place. Now, the more challenging consoles I guess we could test would be like Wii or Switch, but with Switch, we have the whole Yuzu issue getting shut down and all, and I didn't really want to deal with that. And with Wii, I just didn't think it was necessary. Now, as far as like Xbox, PS3, and Wii U go, well, those consoles, we don't really have an option to emulate those on Android devices as of yet.
Okay, GameCube. 007 Nightfire was a game I really enjoyed playing growing up. Specifically, I had a blast playing with my friends on multiplayer and setting up 6 different bots with all these kind of crazy gimmicks. On the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, you can see here that I was not getting the best frame rate. The cinematic scenes were particularly bad. Here's the performance I was getting on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro at an even higher upscale multiplier. Plus, I didn't tinker with any of the other settings. Now check out this side-by-side comparison. You can see that there's a significant difference between the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus's performance and the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro's performance. Better frame rate, less stuttering, and overall smoother gameplay. And honestly, it looked nicer. Let's look at another example, Kirby Air Ride. The intro animation is clearly awful on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus compared to the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. The Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is giving you a perfect frame rate, while the 3 Pluses is kind of choppy. For the actual gameplay, the 3 Plus's performance improved a lot, and I would call it playable for sure, but you would get some slowdowns when there was a lot happening, while on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, you didn't get any of those slowdowns. The Retroid Pocket 3 Plus was able to play a lot of PS2 games just fine, but it did struggle with some games. For example, in Burnout 3 Takedown, the performance on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus was too slow in my opinion to be enjoyable. Here's what it looked like with all the recommended tweaks. Burnout 3 Takedown played so much better on the 4, and all I did was change the GPU renderer from OpenGL to Vulkan. I didn't underclock it or tweak it at all, and I had almost 60 FPS. God of War 2 is another example where the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro turned a game that was borderline unplayable to actually enjoyable. Here's a side-by-side comparison. As you can see, better frame rate and smooth gameplay again. I only showed a few examples to highlight the performance differences. However, you can get a better idea of how many games the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro performs significantly better on by checking out the community-made compatibility sheets on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus and the 4 Pro. What you're getting with the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is almost peak performance for the Gamecube and PS2. You basically put yourself all the way up to that PS2 Gamecube performance bar without quite touching it. If you want to hit that peak performance, you'll need to invest in something like the Odin 2. I don't own an Odin 2, but I know from research that it'll give you max performance for Gamecube and PS2 at an even better upscale. At that point, you're only limited to where emulation has been developed, and that's not something that even the best CPU can help you with. It just takes time. The Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is future-proof in my opinion for a while. If you're trying to get as much performance as possible for the best value, I honestly think that you should buy the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Again, something like the Odin 2 will take that emulation capability a little further, but for $100 more. It's kind of a luxury spend at that point because the improvement ratio from a $200 Retroid Pocket 4 Pro to an Odin 2 is less than the improvement ratio from a cheap $100 console or less to the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. If you've got the money, then go for it. But if you're trying to maximize spending, definitely consider the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro.
It all comes down to what is best for you and what you want to emulate. If you want to play a lot of PS2 and GameCube, then it might be a good idea to upgrade your Retroid Pocket 3 Plus to the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. But if you don't really care about playing that much GameCube or PS2, maybe check out the compatibility list, see which games are your favorite and how they handle on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and save yourself $70. Anyway, that's it for my initial thoughts on the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Honestly, I'm really loving this device. I've already put a lot of gaming into it and I just got it. Now, I am going to do an in-depth review later on. I want to put in around 100 or plus hours of gameplay into this device to really give you an in-depth review that I feel is honest. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching.